Good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning. Today, let's begin immediately. It's always right now, which is always the only moment we have to be awake, alive. So just starting now. Finding a posture that's comfortable and stable. Perhaps closing the eyes, perhaps leaving them open. Beginning by opening the awareness to the fullness of this present moment. Noticing that there are dimensions to it. One is thoughts floating through the mind, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, sometimes like traffic racing by and sometimes congested. So just noticing how the thought stream is for you right now. Another dimension is the emotional, you could call it weather, general mood of experience in this moment. Heavy or light, pleasant, neutral, unpleasant. So just noticing that too, another aspect of experience here and now. A third dimension we might call behavior or impulse. And sometimes we have impulses present, impulses to do this or that, perhaps to itch, to adjust. We can always make a choice about whether to do whatever the impulse encourages or not. There's no right or wrong, but an inquiry, something to explore. How is it to consciously do what the impulse suggests? How is it not to do it? One of the subtlest and most powerful impulses we experience is the impulse to make this moment different in some way, to get somewhere else, to be something else. Just noticing if that impulse is present in some sense for you. An impulse to make now something else, maybe something clearer or lighter, or like an idea perhaps. What would it be like to see that impulse as an impulse without having to do anything with it, without being driven by it, just allowing it its space? And then a fourth dimension of experience in this rich mixture that is the present moment can be found in the sensations of the body. Often easier to overlook than the other aspects because more neutral perhaps, until a particular pain or pleasure comes along at least. Seeing if you can make space now even for the neutral sensations of the body. The feet, hands, belly, the whole domain of embodiment. Seeing if you can allow this in too, as well as thought and emotion and impulse and anything else that is present for you. We don't have to name it all. And within this broad and many dimensioned awareness, it can be helpful to allow the gaze of the mind to settle on one aspect, perhaps one fairly neutral sensation, and to let this occupy the foreground of awareness for a time, without having to clear or reduce the background. So perhaps making that choice now, or simply allowing one sensation of the body to arise and take center stage. Perhaps the breath in the belly or at the nostrils, a hand or both hands, a foot or both feet. Or the sensation of sounds, maybe. The soundscape all around. This is a sensation too. Without making too much of the choice or putting too much importance on which sensation you focus on for now. Just allowing the spotlights of attention to rest in one place. the mind will wander off. It's what minds do. It's part of what minds do. Noticing this is already coming back, already aware again. Perhaps briefly acknowledging where the mind wandered. It may have been a thought or an emotion or an impulse, different sensation. And then coming back. No more analysis or explanation is necessary. Firmly and gently, patiently and kindly, turning attention back to your chosen focus now. All the while allowing the breadth and the many dimensions in the background. No need to get rid of those. So just back to the focus. Each in-breath a new beginning. Each out-breath letting go, softening as best you can. Perhaps sensitive all the while to that subtle and powerful impulse to change in some way, which may not be present at one point and may arise at another. And just noticing if it does and seeing it as it is, an impulse. Knowing that you have the choice of how to respond to it. Maybe we can just let it be. Maybe there's something we need to do in response. That's a choice. An area of inquiry and exploration. Allowing your chosen focus to be an anchor, bringing you back into the present here and now. Each time you turn back to it. What if there is no need to change right now? which is not to say everything is exactly as we'd like it to be. But what if that change will come from letting go of the effort, the striving, the tension of trying to make it happen? What if what is really called for is counterintuitive, the last thing we'd expect? Just to let things be as they are for a moment or several moments. And then gradually to let our actions, our activism come from that place, that steadiness. There's so much that is worthwhile to do. But perhaps trying too hard or contracting, narrowing, tightening, perhaps the urgency makes it harder. What would it be like to begin with just letting things be here in this moment, including any impulse to change, and taking it from here, moment by moment. Maybe coming back to your anchor, whatever thoughts, emotions, impulses may be around. And now just coming back to this focused sensation. Allowing your body, mind to settle and in its own time to gather, nourish, resource itself so that any action that follows has at its disposal your full range of strength and wisdom. Just being for now. And perhaps allowing the words of this poem to be part of the background of awareness, another dimension. This is The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. So thank you for allowing us to practice together this morning. Always interesting to notice what's left after a practice. What sensations, emotions, thoughts, impulses. The louder ones and the quieter ones too. Seeing if we can allow that aware ease to permeate, to flow into the next few moments of the day. So thank you so much. I'll be back at the same time tomorrow for some mindful movement. Take care.